I've said this in several of my videos where I'm skeptic about a book and then I'm pleasantly surprised. And I love when I'm pleasantly surprised because then at least it's something that makes you want to come back and read more. Sadly, this book is not one of those. I was really looking forward to reading more of Alien Black, White, and Blood, but there's not enough to keep me. Now, that is not to say that the first story that they've been following on, what the hell's the name of the ship again? Let's get into it. Sesostra, the people have answered. We will no longer endure the injustice foisted on us by our forebears 50 years ago. Forward, that is the name of the ship, is not only haunted by the curse of Rayon Fullhorn, but by those cursed to sleep so that we might live in peace. Today, we end that curse. The people have answered Sesostra. Will you? Now, if you were with me on the first review, you remember that Forward is a UPP, Union of Progressive Peoples ship. They heard a distress call, and so Sesostra, I think that's how you pronounce it, I think it's Russian, she's the android of the ship. It's her job to make sure that everyone of Forward is safe. It's also that she's programmed with the ideas of the UPP that all people must speak in unison to agree on something. So they decided, okay, before I go any further on this, spoiler alerts. So if you don't want to get spoiled, pause this video, go read Aliens Black, White, and Blood, issue 1, or check out the review, and come back, and you're back. So spoilers again. 50 years have passed since the first issue. The Rayon Fullhorn, which was a section of the spherical ship here, has been infected by the xenomorph because the people decided to salvage this Weyland-Yutani ship, and when they opened it, Queen Alien and all her drones attacked. Sesostra is very much wanting to save everyone. She said, we need the people's choice. And someone says they had their chance and shuts the blast doors. And she said it was no more than 5 minutes that the UPP's beliefs were thrown out the window, essentially. Now, 50 years later, of course, she looks the same because she's an android, but the people that were maybe children and whatnot are now the occupants of the ship, and they're saying that they're tired of living with the nightmares of this part of the ship, of these waking nightmares that no one can live in peace. It is not my place to choose, Counselor Dova, only to facilitate. The soldiers will awaken. Now, they have a complement of Marines that they don't want to wake because they want to live in peace. They wanted to essentially try to kill off their forebears' use of war, but because these people are afraid, bring them. And of course, you're not making the best judgment when you're afraid. I am compelled to warn you, there is a reason why your defenders were locked away before we launched. This is a bell that cannot be unrung. It is a bell that never should have been forged. Forward is a utopia. We must live our peaceful ideals. All of us. Yes, of course. And nonetheless, the soldiers are awoken. Now, they slept through everything that happened at Rayon Fullhorn 50 years ago. This is just basically a sleeping giant that they have now awoken. Now, I don't want to do all this reading, so if you guys want to check this out, pause it at your convenience and read it. And here's everyone else working on the book, so you can check this out at your convenience since they're all kind of short stories. But I'm going to say this again. This first story about Forward should have been the only story, because the rest of these in this issue, major waste. We'll get into that. So she tells the military leader here of what's happened and why they were awoken. A xenogenic event has been sealed in Rayon Fullhorn. The people call it the curse. And you're worried I'll go to war. I am. Then why wake me? The people woke you, Corporal Kwan. I simply facilitated. So she goes, here she goes, safe. That is what I felt in that moment, for the first time since the doors fell on Fullhorn. It was a beautiful feeling, a steadying, a trust. Now, I know I've said that I hate when books, it feels like it's just reading, but this is one of those times where it's setting a tone. You see that even though she's a synth, she's conflicted because she knows what's at stake and why this militaristic leader has been awoken. And she's saying that she felt safe. And we see the deceiving in the eyes. Because we cut to the next page and she says, I should have left him locked in that damned room. Because right off the bat, people see him as the savior of Forward. Full ticker tape militaristic parade. And then they actually try to go to war. Who'd have seen it with their own eyes were long dead. It was an abstraction, a ghost. They had forgotten the face of death. And then again, this is supposed to be black and white and blood. I love the use of color. I will say again, this first story, yes, they have to kind of rush it because it's in a sense a short. So they can't go into full detail. Again, that's why I kind of wish this would have been a standalone comic. I would have been on board. But here, just using that little hints of pink and red to accent the massive destruction as they enter Rayon Fullhorn and having to essentially fight I guess you would say the children of their ancestors that were left to the queen and all these hungry aliens that want new blood. But that day they remembered. Beautiful splash page. And we see that when opening those doors, they start losing more rayons. Drastic measures. We see all the different parts of the ship that are falling, and the leader. A number cannot be sway on our prediction. Pull our forces back. And then later, a war is not won by retreating, it is won by momentum, which is finally ours once again. And you can see the more desperation he wants for glory. All those who can fight will. Arm them. We're all soldiers now. So Sinostra, we go back to another conversation. And she sees the error of her ways. You swore that you could be trusted. That if we fought, we would not lose. This is how we live. We can survive in marks. Everything else is everything else. You are synthetic. I don't think you have the capacity to understand. You are fed by our purpose, to facilitate, to make real the dreams of mere mortals. That is your joy. But the human spirit must be fed on pride. Without victory, resounding vicious, the people of this ship will be consumed by their own weakness and shame. If you serve them, if you want what is best for them, how could you be willing to let them live with the shame and defeat? And even though this is just them back and forth talking, look at the way her facial expressions changed from the first time they met. A look of hope, relief that they have something that can fight the xenomorphs, to the rage and pain and betrayal as this general basically treats her as a tool. A lot of subtext, some parts on the nose, but a great read, especially when an android has to make a decision what is the best for the people that she has sworn to protect. Check out the book to see what happens. This story was, I try not to cuss in my reviews, but this was fucking boring. Hi, Alus. I took your sandwich. What you doing? I'm contemplating my donut, Charlie. It's a Zen thing. Makes it taste better. See the donut. Be the donut. Oh, who gives a shit? So you come to find out that this is a team that basically drops supplies for Adfira 4, the kind of moneymaker the corporation loves. Breathable atmosphere with photosynthesis, mineral and resource heavy, plus bonus avenue of income such as exotic woods and animal hides. We call it the SCAG because all the other 4-letter words were taken. Now I did have hope that when they rode up on this ranch, you see all these bodies. And you know what's coming. We all know the gore that the xenomorphs bring. And I think what I hate the most is the fact that we don't really get to know who these characters are that much. Again, it has to be a short story, so it has to sort of be rushed. So if you look at it from the sense that we see what happens on other worlds, like I said, I'm glad that they're expanding away from focusing on, oh, this goes in between Alien and Aliens. Oh, this is a precursor to Prometheus. This goes in between Covenant. Who gives a damn? Stop trying to shoehorn shit between stuff that's already been established and go further into the future. And again, another one that I liked about this is that even though this is a Weyland-Yutani settlement, at least it's not focusing on, oh, company or people go into ship, find, experiment, all hell breaks loose. And just a precursor, I'm really reluctant from Romulus in that regard, that all these theory videos I've been watching are like, oh, this is how Big Chap survived. This is how the narcissist fits into the whole thing, and this is why it goes in between Alien. And I'm just like, can we get off that and just let it stand on its own merit? Please. I'm so tired of everyone trying to smash everything in between Ripley. So, that frustration aside, as you can see, I'm really irked with the Alien franchise right now because movie-wise, they have all these opportunities to go into Dark Horse or even take some of the stuff that new writers are trying to do, like this, even though it feels rushed. Make something new. She goes, oh God, why? I pretend to myself that I don't understand why did it leave me shivering in the dark, listening to the sounds of a massacre? Was it distracted, or was there another reason? And then again, he used the red. But in truth, I already knew. Fear upon fear. And so I wait for the silence. Now, I don't want to give everything away, but I hate that at the end, it goes back to this whole, it's a Zen thing. I am a donut. And it just kind of feels like they were trying to create this haiku. It just didn't work in short story form. Again, and the same with this one. This one has the same beef. Well, this one has more of a beef, but same beef that I have with this last story where we don't give a shit about these characters because in short story form with the aliens, even with the... Okay, let's just go back to the movies. Oh my God. First Alien. Ridley Scott made a point taking the time. That's why a lot of people, when they first watch Alien, they're like, fuck, this is boring, it's slow. Yeah, because we're learning who the characters are and why we give a damn if they die later. Same thing with Aliens. Why do we care about any of the Marines? Why did we fall in love with Hudson and Hicks? Why were we sad when... The Corps leader's name. Apone. Why we were upset that Ripley didn't want to go get Apone before he was strung up on the wall, but her theory, or reasoning made sense because all that slow buildup, going into the lab, seeing the stasis facehuggers, seeing that poor soul that dies in the first scenes in Acheron. But here it's just people yelling, screaming, and the Marines have come in to wipe out the xenomorph. Now I do like that in the use of the terror of the red, they also use a little bit of grain to accent the, what do you call it, the acidic blood. This Marine was not ready for what she's seen. Private Briggs. And then we see that this military leader is very much hopped up on a roid rage, attacking all of these people, or attacking all these aliens. And the Briggs sees the hive. Now, one thing about this particular panel that kind of irks my Gurk. Sure, kind of like the stenciling is showing this really fucked up hive tree. Sure, but over here, this unfinished art in the corner just really takes away from it because it just looks more like a doodle than a finished piece of art. Briggs wants to save these people, but we find out that the Major, or whatever he is, he has other machinations. And I hate that they had to use the tired line. This is my last mission before retiring, Briggs. And if you want to survive this job long enough to do the same, I suggest you get real. Our true loyalty is with the company that employs us. So again, just another thing that kind of made me hate it is even Burke was a dick. But at least when he finally reveals his true colors, you're just like, whoa, he's a company man. Like, there's always that underlining doubt. But you actually start to like Paul Reiser's character in the beginning. This one, we're just thrown into this person that just fills in over her head, and then this just jackass. And it doesn't do any good. I did not care for it. I wanted to. Those last 2 stories, I wanted to care. And the only reason I'm even considering getting issue 3 is because I'm loving the story of Sisostra or Sinostra, however you pronounce her name, and Forward, to see how these people, are they ever going to get their ship back? Is it going to become fully overwhelmed? It's a story of survival, of human spirit, even in the form of a synth. And I like that. Because again, with the alien, it's not always just them that's the terror. It's the things that humans and elements will do when confronted with who they really are underneath the surface. That's why certain zombie books and novels will do good, because it's not just the zombies. They're dressing the stage for more things that they're trying to say in a semi-subtext manner. Yes, the aliens are horrifying. Yes, the predator's horrifying. Yes, zombies can be terrifying. But what else are we trying to say? In those last 2 stories, that I didn't really feel much, other than the fact that we see that. I mean, I think I would have enjoyed that second story more if the girl would have, when she's talking about, I try to lie to myself on why I ran. So rather than her saying that she knows that death's coming, like she knows it all, it would have been like, I try to tell myself that I was just terrified to ease my pain of leaving my fellow compatriots behind. And then when she says I'm a donut or something, it would have been kind of a cool little nod to basically say she's a chicken shit, a coward, and she's going to die a coward. That would have had a little more weight to it. But the way it was written, for me, no. So I might pick up 3 just to see what happens with Siostra and Forward. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is they can get your action figures and comics and get this series. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little Xeno bell next subscribe, that way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or the socials, which I'll make sure that the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.